Today's video is going to be my Dean Koontz book collection, or more accurately, a purging of my Dean Koontz book collection, because I have so many. I have so many. I have a lot of duplicates, and I have so many Dean Koontz books that I really honestly don't remember what I've already read and what I haven't. So what we're going to do, we're going to go through 20 books today. And I probably have, I don't know, 100. But we're going to go through 20 books, and I will try to figure out if I've read them. And I'm going to write them down so I can keep track if I have duplicates. And hopefully you find this relaxing and you enjoy it. So this is The Vision, and this is the book that started it all. I started reading Dean Koontz, I think, in the late 90s. And one day I really just wanted to read a book. It was very late at night. It was dark. The only thing open was Walmart. So I went to Walmart and I bought this book for $5.62. And I stayed up all night and I read it in one sitting. I loved it. And that started my Dean Koontz obsession, I guess. Oh, I didn't light my candles. Let's do that. Fortunately, I don't have any matches. Okay. There, that's better. All right. So, The Vision originally published in 1977, and I remember really liking this. Especially if it has a synopsis. Oh, it's here. Oh, it's very simple. Okay. Don't close your eyes. He's watching you. He knows what you're doing. He knows what you're thinking. He's coming after you. Don't close your eyes. He has a knife. The steel blade gleams. Whenever you close your eyes, you can see it. The tip of his knife pointing at your chest. Don't close your eyes. He's closing them for you. It's very dramatic. A good book, though. You know I've read that one. So I'll highlight it. Oh, it's going to smear a bit. Okay. Next book. The Darkest Evening of the Year. This was published in 2007. Who will be with you in the darkest hour? Amy Redwing has devoted her life to rescuing dogs, but the unique bond she shares with Nikki, a golden retriever she saves in the most dangerous encounter of her life, is deeper than any she has ever known. In one night, their loyalty will be put to the test, and each will prove to the other how far they will go when the stakes turn deadly serious. People magazine, a People magazine quote calls this Silence of the Lambs meets Marley and Me. I don't know what Marley and Me is. I definitely know Silence of the Lambs. I don't think I've read this. Maybe I should write with a pencil. I wanted you guys to be able to hear it. I love writing sounds. But I really can't tell how well these mics are picking anything up. Next time I'll find something to set the mics on so that they don't have to be in my ears, because I'm really not liking it. But we will persevere. Okay. This one I remember being disturbed by. But I would offer a trigger warning because there is, I won't spoil anything, but there is some sexual assault in this book. I'll leave it at that. But it's a very good read. It was published in 1999. It's a fear more paralyzing than falling, more terrifying than absolute darkness, more horrifying than anything you can imagine. It's the one fear you cannot escape. No matter where you run, no matter where you hide, it's the fear of yourself. It's real. It can happen to you, and facing it can be deadly. That tells you absolutely nothing. It tells you nothing. This is a really good one, though. One is all beat up. I read this as well. If you're familiar with Koontz, his books, and again, I don't want to spoil anything, but his books often, the stories present themselves as being paranormal, and it turns out in the end that it's not paranormal. But this one, if I remember correctly, actually is paranormal. And I like that. I love the paranormal. So I like that, if I'm remembering this correctly, that this one actually was something paranormal. It was published in 1983. Closer. They found the town silent, apparently abandoned. Then they found the first body, strangely swollen and still warm. 150 were dead, 350 missing. But the terror had only begun in the tiny mountain town of Snowfield, California. And closer. At first they thought it was the work of a maniac, or terrorists, or toxic contamination, or a bizarre new disease. And closer. But then they found the truth, and they saw it in the flesh. And it was worse than anything any of them had ever imagined. I almost want to reread these instead of getting rid of them. The whole idea is to purge my collection because I have way too many books, but I kind of want to reread them first. It's been so long since I read these. All right, The Eyes of Darkness. Published in 1981. A year had passed since little Danny's death. A year since his mother began the painful process of acceptance. But tonight, Tina Evans swore she saw Danny in a stranger's car. Then she dreamed that Danny was alive, and when she awoke, she found a message waiting for her in Danny's bedroom. 2 disturbing words scrawled on his chalkboard. Not dead. Was it someone's grim joke? Her mind playing tricks on her? Or something more? For Tina Evans, it was a mystery she couldn't escape. An obsession that would lead her from the bright lights of Las Vegas to the cold shadows of the high Sierras. A terrible secret, seen only by the eyes of darkness. I've read this as well, and I remember it being really good. To be honest, probably I should avoid repeating myself. They're all really good. There is only one book, and I don't think it's one I'm going to show you today. There is only one book of Dean Koontz that I didn't like. I've read this. And this. Next up, Night Chills. I don't think I've read this one. Published in 1976. The fear is spreading, seizing the men and women of Black River, plaguing them with night chills, driving them to violent acts of rape, murder, and mutilation. The fear is spreading. Designed by top scientists and unleashed in a monstrous conspiracy, its deadly spell can unlock the most frightening potential of the human mind. The fear is spreading. The nightmare is real, and death is the only cure. Sounds good. I have a trick that sometimes works for remembering if I've read a book. Sometimes it helps to look at the name of the main character. For some reason, that usually jogs my memory. Holbrook. Buddy Pellinary. I don't recognize that. So I don't think I've read this one. My cat's crying, so I have to take a short break. You have to get down. You have to get down. Does that smell good? Come on. Go on. Thank you. Okay. Next up, Demon Seed. Paperback books just don't sound as good as hardcover books. But all books sound pretty good, don't they? Alright, published in June 1973. Susan Harris lived in a self-imposed seclusion in a mansion featuring numerous automated systems controlled by state-of-the-art computer. Let me start over. Susan Harris lived in a self-imposed seclusion in a mansion featuring numerous automated systems controlled by a state-of-the-art computer. Every comfort was provided, and in the often unsafe world of ours, her security was absolute. But now her security system has been breached. her sanctuary from the outside world violated by an insidious artificial intelligence which has taken control of her house. In the privacy of her own home and against her will, Susan will experience an inconceivable act of terror. She will become the object of the ultimate computer's consuming obsession, to learn everything there is to know about the flesh. That sounds ominous. I feel like I've read this, and Susan Harris sounds somewhat familiar. Oh, I initialed it inside, so I have read it. That was smart. Did I say this was published? Okay, well, here we go. So it was published in 73, but I wrote 1997, and I initialed it, so I must have read this in 1997. Cool. Definitely want to read these again, though. Next up, One Door Away from Heaven. I feel like I've read this. Ah, I did. I initialed it. 2001. Very handy. I also used to go through and cross them out. Published in 2001. I don't know how to pronounce this name. Michelina? We'll go with that. Michelina Belsong is on a mission. She's following a missing family to the edge of America, to a place she never knew existed, a place of terror, wonder, and shattering revelation. What awaits her there will change her life and the life of everyone she knows, if she can find the key to survival. At stake are a young girl of extraordinary goodness, a young boy with killers on his trail, and Mickey's own wounded soul. Yes, I remember the name Mickey. I remember reading this book. And I feel like there was one book was absolutely brilliant 3/4 of the way through. And then it completely fell apart at the end. But I can't remember if it was this book or not. I'm not sure, but oh, it was so disappointing. I remember just tearing through the book. And then I got to the end and I was so disappointed. But I'm not sure if it was this one. Did I say I'd read Night Chills? I don't think I did. And I think I read Demon Seed, but I'm not sure. But I know I read this one. Oh wait, I initialed it, didn't I? Did I initial Night Chills? No. These books are dusty and they're really bothering my allergies, so there's probably going to be a lot of cuts in the video because I keep sneezing. I'm sorry about that. Midnight. That's a nice sound. This was published. This was published in 1989. The citizens of Moonlight Cove, California are changing. Some are losing touch with their deepest emotions. Others are surrendering to their wildest urges. And the few who remain unchanged are absolutely terrified, if not brutally murdered in the dead of night. Dean Koontz, the best-selling master of suspense, invites you into the shocking world of Moonlight Cove, where 4 unlikely survivors confront the darkest realms of human nature. Here is the ultimate masterpiece of fear by the one and only Dean Koontz. I've read this as well. Mm-hmm. Mr. Murder. October 1993. Martin Stillwater has a vivid imagination. It charms his loving wife, delights his 2 little daughters, and gives him all the inspiration he needs to write his highly successful mystery novels. But maybe Martin's imagination is a bit too vivid. One rainy afternoon, a terrifying incident makes him question his grip on reality. A stranger breaks into his house, accosting Martin and stealing his wife and his children, and his life. Claiming to be the real Martin Stillwater, the intruder threatens to take what is rightfully his. The police think he's a figment of Martin's imagination, but Martin and his family have no choice but to believe the stranger's threat and run for their lives. But wherever they go, wherever they hide, he finds them. Mr. Murder. I've read this. Soul Survivor. (1997). Oh man, the dust is really getting to me. I should dust my books more often. I don't think that I've read this, but I believe that there's a movie. And I may have seen that. But I can't find a synopsis. It's really strange. There are squirrels running across my roof. I'm sorry. I have a large tree. I'm in the living room now, and I have a large tree to this side of the living room, and an even larger tree to this side of the living room, and the squirrels like to jump and run across back and forth, and they also chase each other a lot. I see them running. I have a big bay window on this side, and my cat has a nice little perch up there because the squirrels are always chasing each other up and down the tree, and she's up there right now watching them. Lots of squirrel drama. Anyway, I don't have a synopsis for this, but I don't think I've read it. Key to Midnight. Man, the dust just flies, doesn't it? 1979. Joanna Rand left America almost 10 years ago to become a singer in a Japanese nightclub. Still, she could never escape the strange dream that haunted her night after night. A single disturbing image of a man with steel fingers reaching for a hypodermic syringe. When she awoke, she felt violated, used, and terrified. Alex Hunter desperately wanted to help this beautiful, fascinating woman. He knew he had seen Joanna before in news photographs of a senator's daughter who disappeared 10 years ago. Slowly, tenderly, he helped awaken her to a terrifying fact, that she was not who she thought she was, that her mind, her memories, had been created for her, and there was only one way to unlock the dark secret of her soul: the key to midnight. Spooky. I've read this one, but I don't remember it at all. The Eyes of Darkness. We've done this one already. The Good Guy. (2007). From #1 New York Times bestselling author Dean Koontz comes this pulse-pounding thriller that starts with a terrifying decision: help or run. Timothy Carrier is an ordinary guy who enjoys a beer after work, but tonight is no ordinary night. The jittery man sitting beside him has mistaken Tim for someone else and passes him an envelope stuffed with cash and the photo of a pretty woman. 10,000 now, you get the rest when she's gone. Now everything he thought he knew, even about himself, will be challenged. For Tim Carrier is the one man who can save an innocent life and stop a killer as relentless as evil incarnate. But first he must discover resources within himself that will transform his idea of who he is and what it takes to be the good guy. I've definitely not read this one. Your Heart Belongs to Me. weirdly shaped book, isn't it? Kind of tall and skinny. (2008). For one man, they are the 5 most terrifying words of all. Your heart belongs to me. 1 year after the heart transplant that saved his life, 35-year-old Ryan Perry has never felt better. He's getting back to everything he nearly lost forever: his business, his life, and, with luck, his beloved girlfriend. Miracles do happen. Then the unmarked gifts begin to arrive. A box of candy hearts, a heart-shaped pendant. Most disturbing of all is a graphic heart surgery video and its chilling message: your heart belongs to me. Ryan is being stalked by someone who feels entitled to everything he has. She's the spitting image of the 26-year-old donor of the heart beating steadily in Ryan's chest, and she's come to take it back. Sounds pretty good. I haven't read this. Oops. The husband. The book we just covered with a different cover. Bothers a lot of people, to be honest. 2006. We have your wife. You can get her back for $2 million cash. On an ordinary afternoon, an ordinary man, a gardener of modest means, gets a phone call out of his worst nightmare. The caller is dead serious. He doesn't care that Mitch can't raise that kind of money. He's confident that Mitch will find a way, if he loves his wife enough. Mitch does love her enough. He loves her more than life itself. He's got 60 hours to prove it. He has to find the $2 million by then, but he'll pay a lot more. He'll pay anything. From its intense opening to its shattering climax, The Husband is a thriller that will hold you in its relentless grip for every twist, every shock, every revelation. This is a Dean Koontz novel, after all, and there's no other experience quite like it. I haven't read that one. This is a classic. A very good, very cheesy movie was made from this book. Very cheesy as far as I recall, but if you like cheesy horror films, then I'd check it out. People are supposed to scream in a fun house. (1980). Once there was a girl who ran away and joined a traveling carnival. She married a man she grew to hate and gave birth to a child she could never love. A child so monstrous that she killed it with her own hands. 25 years later, Ellen Harper has a new life, a new husband, and 2 normal children. Joey loves monster movies, and Amy is about to graduate from high school. But their mother drowns her secret guilt in alcohol and prayer. The time has come for Amy and Joey to pay for her sins. Because Amy is pregnant. And the carnival is coming back to town. That actually sounds different from what I'm thinking of. I have read this, I've initialed it. This might not be the book that I'm thinking of, though, or the movie I'm thinking of either. There is a book and a movie about teenagers being trapped in a funhouse, and both the book and movie are cheesy but fun. I don't know if this is that book. Could be. But I have read it because I initialed it. I'm glad I thought to do that all those years ago. Dean Koontz, Frankenstein. Oh, this is book 2 of City of the Night. I know I haven't read any of these because I didn't have them in order. I don't even know if I own book 1. (2005). They are stronger, heal better, and think faster than any humans ever created, and they must be destroyed. But not even Victor Helios, once Frankenstein, can stop the engineered killers he set loose on a reign of terror through modern-day New Orleans. Now the only hope rests in a one-time monster and his all-too-human partners, Detective Carson O'Connor and Michael Madison. Centuries-old history began as Victor's first and failed attempt to build the perfect human, and it is fated to end in the ultimate confrontation between a damned creature and his mad creator. But first he must destroy the monstrosity not even Victor's malignant mind could have imagined, an indestructible entity that steps out of humankind's collective nightmare with one purpose: to replace us. That actually doesn't sound very good to me. That might be another reason why I skipped it. Dark Rivers of the Heart. Doesn't seem to be a synopsis for this one either. What was the other one that didn't have a synopsis? Soul Survivor. We'll look these up online. Last book. Fear Nothing. (1998). When you are different from everyone else, the night is not your enemy. The darkness is not intimidating. The shadows are not terrifying. And if you're different enough, you fear nothing. Christopher Snow is different from all the other residents of Moonlight Bay. Different from anyone you've ever met. For Christopher Snow has made his peace with a very rare genetic disorder that leaves him dangerously vulnerable to light. His life is filled with the fascinating rituals of one who must embrace the dark. He knows the night as no one else can. Its mystery, its beauty, its terrors, and the eerie, silken rhythms that seduce one into believing anything, even freedom, is possible. Until the night Christopher Snow witnesses a series of disturbing incidents that sweep him into a violent mystery only he can solve. A mystery that will force him to rise above all fears and confront the many layered secrets of Moonlight Bay and its strange inhabitants. A place, like all places, that looks a lot different after dark. Wasn't Moonlight Bay the name of the town from Phantoms? Snowfield. I swear we saw that though. We read that Moonlight Bay. Oh. Was it maybe... Moonlight Cove. Moonlight Bay, Moonlight Cove. Fair enough. I have read this. This one. Okay, that's all of them. So let's find synopses for these two. So Soul Survivor was definitely a movie. Jeez, they want $20 for this plus $4 shipping on Amazon. There isn't really a synopsis. It just says a barn burner of a suspense / mystery book. It is about something well written. So, confirmed, it is about something. Okay, here we go. The plane crashed without warning. 330 people died. No explanation. No survivors. Now, one man who lost everything that night is about to discover the answers he needs to go on with his life, or the conviction to finally end it. Crime reporter Joe Carpenter lost his wife and 2 daughters in the crash of Flight 353. Aching from his loss, Joe was unable to work, think, or do anything but grieve and wait for his own death. Then Joe meets Rose, a woman who claims to be the crash's sole survivor. But before Joe can probe further, the elusive Rose slips away and Joe is left with haunting, terrifying questions. If Rose lived through the crash, is it possible his family could have survived too? Did the authorities conspire to hide what really happened that night? Joe's search for the truth will shatter him like nothing has before, and force him to question everything he thinks he knows about life and death. Sounds really good. Mystery solved. Now, the other one, right? Let me just double check that this is the right one. The one that didn't have a synopsis. Yeah, that's right. Okay. See, this is more reasonable. It's only $9.99. That's more like it. Okay. Do you dare step through the red door? Spencer Grant had no idea what drew him to the bar with the red door. He thought he would just sit down, have a slow beer or two, and talk to a stranger. He couldn't know that it would lead to a narrow escape from a bungalow targeted by a SWAT team, or that it would leave him a wanted man. But now Spencer is on the run from mysterious and ruthless men. He is in love with a woman he knows next to nothing about, and he is hiding from a past he can't fully remember. On his trail is a shadowy security agency that answers to no one, including the U.S. government, and a man who considers himself a compassionate angel of death. But worst of all, Spencer Grant is on a collision course with inner demons he thought he'd buried years ago. Inner demons that could destroy him if his enemies don't first. Meh. That's one of my favorite sounds. With me while I test out these new mics. I'm not sure how I feel about them. I'm gonna have to listen to this. So I'll be back with another video because I have probably 100 Dean Koontz books and I really need to go through them. So far we only found one duplicate, and we did find a lot that I've already read, but instead of wanting to get rid of these books that I've already read, I feel like rereading them because I don't really remember anything that happened. So maybe I'll go through and reread them and then donate them. Okay, thanks again. I hope you have a wonderful night.